Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna and Namaste. Welcome everyone this evening to our continuing series. My name is Balabhadra Bhattacharya Das. I'm the president of Vedic Friends Association. And our continuing theme is Tools for Human Empowerment, which is the foundation of our Vedic Friends Association. We are an organization that's focused on bringing rich content from our Vedic culture, from our Vedic scriptures, from our Vedic heritage, and bringing you presenters who can bring value into your life or add value to your life. That's our goal. We want to add value to your life, but also to help empower you to be able to represent this culture in an articulate, intelligent, and mature way. So tonight we are so honored to have a very dear friend of mine I've known for many, many years. And he's also been a supporting member of the Vedic Friends Associations, even more years than myself. And we are just so honored to have Sankirtan Prabhu this evening. And I'm going to have Vijay Prabhu to introduce him, to give his bio, and then we'll go from there. Vijay Prabhu. Vijay Prabhu is our VFA treasurer. He keeps us in line. He's a very strong supporter, one of the founding members of this organization. So please, Vijay Prabhu.
Thank you, Balabhadra Prabhu. Namaste, welcome all. My name is Vijay. As Prabhuji told, I'm taking care of the treasure aspect. And also today I'll have additional task of introducing Sankirtana Dasa, that is Aka Andy Fraenkel. He's been with VFA from last 20 years. He's been a great contributor towards VFA and thought and process and leadership. He is a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada and a 45-year resident of New Vrindavan. For many years, he developed devotional theater program and performed a two-man Mahabharata production of Broadway in New York City. He has also offered professional storytelling programs at countless schools, colleges, libraries, including the Centennial event of the Parliament of World Religious and Religious Communication Congress, and also at the Unity Day at FBI Center in West Virginia. He's also a published author. He has received several awards, including the West Virginia Artist Fellowship Award, the Storytelling World Resource Award, and a Next Generation Indie Book Award. He is on the artist roster of the West Virginia Division of Culture and History, and his current project is called as Mahabharata Project. He also coaches writers, actors, and storyteller through his Mahabharata project. Welcome, Andy G. or Sankirtana Das. Namaste.
So it's my great pleasure to be here. So are there any other concerns or things that we're talking about, or is this my time to take over? Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. I've been on a journey with the Mahabharata for many, many years, and I'm just getting a handle on it now. There's so many different aspects of the Mahabharata, and the Mahabharata actually is an amazing piece of literature. Veda Vyas himself says that whatever is not found in the pages of Mahabharata is found nowhere else. And whatever is found elsewhere, that is also certainly found in the pages of Mahabharata. So the Mahabharata is actually a great resource for not only for us on a spiritual level, but also on a very practical societal level. It can show us, of course, the Mahabharata is a history of ancient India, but it's relevant in so many different ways in our own society, in our own culture, and in this particular time especially. Because what's happening in this world, people are suffering, there's so much confusion, there's so much uncertainty, because there's a lack of proper leadership. The leaders are pretend leaders. People don't know how to lead properly, and neither do most of the most of the citizens, they don't really understand what are the actual qualifications of a genuine leader. And this is all found in the Mahabharata, because in the pages of Mahabharata, it's not just philosophy. You know, the original Vedas, the four Vedas, the Sama Veda, the Atharva Veda, Rig Veda, these Vedas deal with rituals, with philosophy. They're introducing different celestial personalities. But in the Mahabharata, we actually have like genuine problems that human beings have to encounter, and day-to-day issues, and what the leaders, what is their responsibility? Because with leadership comes great responsibility. And also, as citizens of a free country, with freedom also comes great responsibility. The founding fathers, they wanted people to be actively involved. There was, people needed to know how to read and to kind of involve themselves in the dynamics of the social and the political life of the United States. And so this is seen in the Mahabharata. Just to give you an example, you know, there's Kunti, and with her 5 sons, she's the mother of the 5 Pandava brothers. And so the main storyline in the Mahabharata deals with the 5 brothers, the Pandavas. The eldest is Yudhisthira, and their rivalry, their contentious relationship with the Kauravas. And the eldest of the Kauravas, there's 100 Kaurava brothers, and the eldest is Duryodhana. And so at one point, you know, there's always some difficulty between them. And at one point, the Pandavas had to go into hiding, and they were traveling around the country as Brahmins. And they came upon a town, Ekachakra, and they found a place. A family took the 5 brothers and their mothers in. The brothers, they were young men at that time. And so they were living with this family in this town of Ekachakra. And so they were living in, they were hiding. And Kunti, one day, she hears in the next room, the family is lamenting. There's some profound problem that they have, and they're bewildered. They don't know what to do. And Kunti immediately, she is a, you know, a leader. She has leadership qualities. Nobody has to prod her. Nobody has to, you know, invite her. She immediately goes in and wants to understand the difficulty of the situation. And so the father of the family, he's saying, oh, you are our guests. I don't want to involve you in our problems. I won't have it. But Kunti doesn't take no for an answer. And so finally they explain the situation, the family. The father is saying that there's a Rakshasa, a man-eating warrior that lives in the forest. He loves human flesh, and he creates havoc throughout the countryside. And sometimes he used to come to our town and he created havoc. But we made an arrangement with this Rakshasa that please don't create any disturbance. Every month we'll send you a human sacrifice. And that human person, he'll take 2 oxen, and they'll bring you an entire cartload of food. And that'll keep you busy for a while. You can eat the human being, you can eat the oxen, you can eat the cartload of food. So as long as you don't just rush in and create confusion and havoc in our town. And so the Rakshasa agreed to that. And so every family, once a month, there was one family that was designated that they would have to supply the human sacrifice. And that month was this family, the hosts of the Pandavas and Queen Kunti. And so now they're saying, well, and the father's thinking, well, I'm going to go out and sacrifice myself to keep the peace of the town. And so Kunti is asking, because she is royalty, she's a queen, and she's asking the father, who is the king of your country? Why don't you petition him? And the father says, oh, the king, he doesn't care about us. Our town is a very poor town, and it doesn't contribute very much to his coffers. And so Kunti says, well, that's ridiculous. It's not a matter of contributing to the coffers of the king, but it's the king's responsibility to protect the citizens. And so now, even though Kunti, this is not her kingdom, she's away from her kingdom, but she takes responsibility. And instead, she insists that the father's not going, but she offers one of her sons, Bhima. He has the strength of thousands of elephants. He'll go out and he'll meet the Rakshasa. And so in this way, Kunti intervenes. She's a royalty, she's a queen, but she also feels the responsibility of her position. And she doesn't shy away from that responsibility. Even though she's in a foreign country, she still accepts the responsibility of leadership. And so this is the situation of the leader. I'll just tell you one other story. This is interesting because one of the qualifications of the leader is that they don't exploit their position. And so once Arjuna, he also saved somebody. He saved a demon personality. His name was Mayadanava. And Mayadanava was about to be killed, but he fell at Arjuna's feet and pleaded, please spare me. And so when one surrenders to a leader or a warrior, then one of the qualities of a Kshatriya, a warrior, is that they're generous, they're kind. In the Bhagavad Gita, it explains that there's several qualities. They're heroic, they're courageous, they're resourceful, they're natural leaders, they have natural leadership ability, and one of the other things is to be generous and kind as well. And so here, Mayadanava, he falls at Arjuna's feet, and Arjuna, he pardons him, and he protects him. He's not going to kill Mayadanava. And so now Mayadanava tells Arjuna, because you have spared my life, you have protected me, I'll do whatever you want. I'll give you whatever you want. Mayadanava actually is a very famous personality because even though he's a demon, he's an extraordinary architect for the demoniac cultures. And some of these demoniac cultures living in the nether regions, their architecture and their culture is almost as sophisticated as the heavenly cultures. And so Mayadanava says, I'll do whatever you like, you name it. But Arjuna said, I can't, as a warrior and as a leader, it's my duty to protect you, but I cannot take advantage of that. I'm not going to exploit you. It's because it is my duty to offer protections to the citizens, and that's enough. But Mayadanava keeps insisting. And Arjuna says, well, if you want to do something, then do it for my friend Krishna. Ask him what he wants. And so Mayadanava turns to Krishna. Krishna himself also says, I don't need anything. But you know what? The Pandavas have just built this extraordinary city, Indraprastha, but they don't have a proper assembly hall where they can meet on a daily basis. Every town has a city hall, so they needed an assembly hall. And so Krishna says, if you can build, you're a very famous architect. Please build an assembly hall for Yudhisthira. He is the king of Indraprastha. He is the eldest of the 5 Pandava brothers. So Arjuna is also one of the Pandava brothers. And so Mayadanava builds this extraordinary place. And after the extraordinary assembly hall is built, then Narada Muni comes to visit. And so Narada Muni, he is traveling here and there. Muni means that he's a scholar. So not only is he conversant to offer religious teaching, spiritual teaching, but he also is conversant to offer material guidance as well. You might say he's a personal coach to one degree or another. And so when he comes to Yudhisthira at Indraprastha, he gives them some guidance on how to rule a kingdom. And there's 3 main things that he mentions. This is a very famous passage in the Mahabharata. And Narada Muni, he actually gives this instruction in the form of questions. But I'm just going to share with you straightforwardly. And so he gives them 3 instructions to begin with. One of those instructions, he says that the leader, the king, so there are different types of leaders. There's military leaders and political leaders, cultural leaders, business leaders, whatever have you. And so this is for across the spectrum, whatever type of leader you are. So he mentions that there are 3 things that a leader has to do. One is to make sure his citizens or his employees, whatever, make sure that the citizens are happy in all respects. But that happiness, Narada Muni explains, manifests itself in 2 different ways. One type of happiness is that to have justice in the kingdom. Everyone has access to fair justice in the land. And the other type of happiness is that everyone has a possibility for economic development. These 2 things have to be there. And then he also mentions, Narada Muni mentions, that in your kingdom, you have so many people that are helping you in your administration. You have to be careful. Don't let someone who is greedy and who is envious and exploitative get too close to the power, because that power will overwhelm them and they want to use that for their own selfish interests. And so Narada Muni gives Yudhisthira many different instructions in that respect. And so, one of the practical, today my talk is about the relevancy of Mahabharata. So for instance, you have the idea in America, they've been having different designations around the country, red states, blue states, and there's some contention between the red mentality and the blue mentality. But this mentality has been going on for a long time, because this mentality actually has its source in the Vedic culture and in the Vedic society, because the blue state mentality actually is the mentality of the Brahmins, and the red state mentality is actually the mentality of the Kshatriyas. So the red state mentality is, their idea is, we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our kingdom. We have to protect from outsiders. No one should disrupt the well-being of our kingdom. And so, but the Brahmins, the blue state mentality is, well, that's important, but also what's important is that the citizens themselves, everything should be fair. Everything should be equal. people should have equal justice. We have to make sure that there's equal justice. We have to make sure that there's equal economic opportunity for all people. And we have to make sure that no one is exploited. And those people who are less fortunate, whether they're from our country or even people who are seeking shelter from outside of our company, from outside of our country, if they're seeking shelter, then let's extend a helping hand. That's the thing to do, to extend a helping hand to others. And so this mentality even was found in the circle of the Pandavas, because the Pandavas at one point, they were cheated out of their kingdom. Like I said, they had a beautiful kingdom of Indraprastha, and their cousins, who they divided the kingdom, they got Hastinapura, that's their capital, the city of the elephants, and Yudhisthira and his brothers, they developed their kingdom at Indraprastha. And so at that time, when they were cheated out of their kingdom, they were exiled into the forest. And so the brothers, the 5 brothers and their common queen Draupadi, they're in the forest and they don't know what to do with themselves. They start arguing. Actually, Draupadi and Bhima, he's the powerful guy. Both of them, they're saying that actually we should go back to the kingdom and take back what is ours, what is rightfully ours. We should uphold justice. We can't be wimps about this. We can't be cowardly. No, we have to exhibit our might. And so Yudhisthira is trying to placate them. And he's telling them, why don't you guys calm down? You know, we're here in the forest right now. Somehow or other, destiny, fate has put us here. And it's kind of comfortable, quiet atmosphere of the forest. And so we should not be angry at our fate. We should also be forgiving. Even though we were cheated out of our kingdom by our wicked cousins, the Kauravas, still, let us be forgiving. And Bhima and Draupadi, they're saying, you are talking like a Brahmin. A Brahmin is forgiving. A Brahmin is extending their compassion and their kindness to everyone. We are warriors. We are leaders. We have to exhibit our strength. And so there's this argument going on in the forest between. So even this one family, the 5 brothers and their common queen, they also, within that one family, they exhibit the red state and the blue state mentality together. But, you know, that doesn't break up their family. They, because of common love, there's a core of love. They want to resolve the issues and work together. So we also need, in our culture, we can take example from the Mahabharata. And also, you know, we're all part of the same family. We can work together. And so this is the nature of the Vedic culture, that the Brahmins, the saintly persons, the scholarly persons, they're giving their advice to the leadership. And so the red state and the blue state, we have to learn how to work together for the common good of all beings. This is what a Vaishnava, the word Vaishnava is an interesting word, because a Vaishnava, basically, it doesn't designate any religion. Vaishnava means a devotee of the Lord who is compassionate, who is kind, who is forgiving. A Vaishnava wants to be the friend of all beings, not only the human beings, but they're kind to the animals, they're kind to the trees. So this is also explained. The Vaishnava culture, the Brahminical culture, is an important ingredient. And so this Brahminical culture and the leadership, in a sense, they have to help each other maneuver through the difficulties and the challenges of the material world. So the red culture, the red state and the blue state, they shouldn't be inimical, but each of them have a strength and they should work together to meet the challenges of the day. And that's a very valuable lesson from the Mahabharata. And so another lesson, let me see what I have over here. Actually, there's a great story in the Mahabharata, because now there's also a controversy with the transgender. People are sometimes they're outraged. Other people are very liberal and very understanding. Sometimes the other people are just outraged at why somebody would change their sex. But even in the Mahabharata, and this book is 5,000 years old, written 5,000 years ago, the history of ancient India. So even there was one woman who was, in one sense, she felt that she was abused by the leader of the dynasty. He was an elder gentleman. He was a great statesman. His name was Grandfather Bhishma Dev. And so Amba, she felt that she was abused by Grandfather Bhishma when Grandfather Bhishma actually was a younger man. So she felt that she was taken advantage of, and she wanted to get vengeance. She tried in so many ways. Finally, she was frustrated and she couldn't get the vengeance that she wanted. And so she vowed that she would enter fire. She would commit suicide, sacrificing herself. And as she's entering the fire, her meditation is on her next life. And she's thinking about becoming a man. And so she can fully implement a plan for vengeance against Grandfather Bhishma Dev. And then as she sacrifices herself in the fire, she burns up. And then later on, shortly afterwards, in the next life, again, she takes birth. But again, somehow or other, for some reason, she takes birth as a woman. And as she's growing up, she's thinking, I'm in the wrong body. What's going on? Why did this happen? And she starts wearing clothing of a boy. And she starts doing boy activities, riding a horse, learning how to drive a chariot, learning the art of warfare and using different weapons. She's still thinking about getting revenge against Grandfather Bhishma Dev. And finally, the battle is coming up. There's a great battle in the Mahabharata, the Battle of Kurukshetra. So at this point, then Amba, now her new name in this new lifetime, she's called Shikandi. She goes into the forest and she visits a sorcerer, a wizard. And that wizard changes her from a woman into a man. And then she goes to the battlefield and she's fighting on behalf of the Pandavas. The Pandavas are fighting against their cousins, the Kauravas. This is the great climactic battle of the Mahabharata. And Grandfather Bhishma Dev happens to be on the side of the Kauravas, although he's very friendly and very disposed toward the well-being of the Pandavas. But he finds himself on the opposite side. And so here you have a situation that the Pandavas They accept Shukundi. They know that she's changed her body. They don't care. They accept her as she is. But grandfather Bhishmadev, he's an elder man from the old generation. He's not accepting. He said, I don't care. This Shukundi, he may come and attack me, but he's not a man. He's a woman. And even if he attacks me, I'm not going to counterattack. I don't attack a woman. So I'm not going to counterattack when this person attacks me. So here, 5,000 years ago, you had this dilemma that's described. That sounds very contemporary. And there's so many contemporary issues. Like another issue is let me just take a look here. Another issue is the characteristic of a leader. When the Pandavas and the Kauravas, when they were growing up, there was Yudhisthira, who was the eldest of the Pandavas, and Duryodhan, who was the eldest of the Kauravas. And so their teacher, his name was Dronacharya. He knew that one day that either Yudhisthira or Duryodhan, they would assume leadership. And he wanted to find out what type of quality, what type of character did they actually have? What qualified them to become leaders? And so he sent them out on a little mission around the city. He asked Yudhisthira, he said, I want you to go out in the city and find me someone who is lower than you. And he told Duryodhan, because Duryodhan, he was very proud of his and very arrogant. Yudhisthira was very humble. And so he asked Yudhisthira to find somebody lower. But because Duryodhan was very proud and arrogant, then he asked Duryodhan, find somebody who's better than yourself. And so both of them went out. And Duryodhan, he was looking around. And he saw the Brahmins, the scholars, the priests. And he said, we warriors, we protect the Brahmins. We are better than the Brahmins. And then he continued, and he saw that so many people were selling their goods in the marketplace. And he said, I'm better than all of these people because I protect the kingdom. I'm a warrior, I'm a leader, I protect the kingdom, I'm protecting all of these people. And then he continues, and even he meets some other nobles. And all of the nobles, they offer Duryodhan their respect. He says, just see, even the nobles are offering me respect. And so he goes back to Duryodhan. In the meantime, Yudhisthira, he's looking around and he's saying, the Brahmins. He said, they're so exalted. They're so needed in society because the Brahmins are offering guidance and knowledge to the citizens. They are much better than I am. And then he goes into the marketplace and he sees all the people selling their goods. And he said, all of these people, they're so skilled. They can make so many different things. These things are needed in society. They serve the citizens by making all of these extraordinary things. They're much better than me. And then he's going around here and there. He can't find anybody. But then Yudhisthira comes upon somebody going to the well and drawing water from the well. And at that day happened to be a fast day. And not only any type of fast day, but it's a special fast day where you not only fast, you take no food and you even take no water. And so Yudhisthira is seeing this man. He's drawing water from the well. He said, I found somebody who's lower than me. This man, he's not observing the fast day, this holiday, this religious day. He's drawing water from the well. But then the man, when he takes the bucket out of the well, he brings it to his horse. And Yudhisthira is thinking, Just see, I'm so quick to criticize. This man is not taking water for himself. He's only bringing it to the horse. I'm the lowest. I have criticized someone unnecessarily. And so he goes back and he says to Duryodhan, I can't find anybody lower than me. I am the lowest. I have to serve all of the citizens in the kingdom because they're doing such valuable work. I am their servant. And when Duryodhan shows up, he said, I couldn't find anybody better than me. I'm the best. I'm the greatest. There's no one better than me. And so Dronacharya, the teacher, he saw which one of them is actually qualified to be a genuine leader in the society. And so there's so many different, I can go on and on. There's so many different stories. Let me see. I have a couple of notes here. I'll tell one more story. One of the things about leaders is that the leaders, if there's a time of difficulty, they have to step up and make the biggest sacrifice. That's what leadership requires. You make the biggest sacrifice. And so just like there's a pandemic here, but are they making who's making the sacrifice? What type of sacrifice is being made? So there's one story in the Mahabharata of King Shibi. And so there's the gods, the celestial beings, they decided to test him. So one of the celestial personalities takes the form of a dove, and the other celestial personality takes the form of a hawk. And the hawk immediately swoops down and tries to catch the dove. And the dove is flying here and there, trying to get away from its predator. This hawk is very powerful and very vicious. And finally, the dove sees the palace and flies into the courtyard of the palace in front of the king. And he appeals to the king. He said, you are the king. You're supposed to protect all of the citizens of the land. I am also a citizen in your kingdom. Please protect me because this dove wants to eat me up. And then the dove comes and the king won't let the hawk comes and the king won't let the hawk devour the dove. And so the dove says, well, you're giving priority to this dove. What about me? I'm also a citizen of the kingdom and I need something to eat. And the king says, I'll give you food. I have a coffer. I have my warehouse of food. Go there and take whatever you like. And the hawk laughs out loud. He says, I'm not interested in eating your human food. No, my taste buds, I require flesh. And so the king said, oh, you need flesh. And so he brings in a weight, a balance, a scale, and he puts the dove on one side. And the dove, what can the dove weigh? It doesn't weigh very much. And the king takes a knife and he cuts off a piece of flesh from his thigh and he puts it on the scale. But the dove is just a little bit heavier than the piece of flesh that the king has offered on the scale. And the king cuts off another piece of flesh and puts it on the scale. But the funny thing is that the dove still weighs just a little more than what the king has offered so far of his own flesh. And then he offers again. But it still doesn't counterbalance the weight of the dove. And as an offering, he puts his whole body onto the shelf, onto the scale. And so the dove and the hawk, they are laughing and they reveal who they are. celestial personalities. And they say, look, this is the real function of a leader, of a king, that you make a sacrifice. And if you have to, you even sacrifice your whole being for the welfare and for the good of others. This is the gravity of leadership. So where are you going to find such leadership in our country? This leadership is very profound, very grave. Even Arjuna, once he was walking in the marketplace and someone came running up to him. This is early in the morning. And he said, last night some marauders came and they stole my cows. And Arjuna, he immediately went to get his bow and arrow to apprehend the marauders and to retrieve the cows. Because the nature of the king, the leader, either you have to retrieve the stolen goods, or if you don't retrieve the stolen goods, the leader, the king, has to replace the stolen goods. That's the responsibility. And so these are all qualities that that have to be considered. How to implement, how to have a government run in an efficient way where you have people thinking about the well-being of the people and not utilizing their position to exploit as an exploitative mood, to use your position to for your own benefit or for the benefit of your rich friends. So these things, people in general, the citizens, have to understand the principles of leadership to make proper assessment of who is a genuine leader and who is just in that position to exploit that position for their own economic benefit. But I don't want to go on too long. I see, what time is it? Okay, it's about 20 to 9. I really appreciate that you've all joined me, and I'd be happy to entertain some comments and questions. One thing before I entertain the comments and questions, if you want to keep in touch with me, this is my site, mahabharat-project.com, and my legal name, Andy Fraenkel. That's can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's my Facebook. I'm under my Facebook under my legal name, and a couple of the books. One of them that I've been talking about is my Mahabharata, and so I wrote this with the intention, because I wrote this about. It took me many years to write it. As I published it about 7 years ago, but actually it's with the intention of having the reader understand what is leadership and what is the Dharma. Dharma is a very interesting word. It could mean your religion, it could mean your occupation, it could mean your social responsibilities in society, it could mean justice and morality. So the Dharma is a very nuanced word. And I want to give people, the reader, a better understanding of the practical implications and the practical adjustments to leadership and to Dharma. So that's one book. And my newest book is Hanuman's Quest, the story of Hanuman, the monkey prince, and how he comes to aid 2 strangers that wander into his kingdom. So let's take a couple of thoughts and comments and questions.
Oh, I tell you, that was that was amazing. I was just enthralled the whole time you're speaking, and it just reminded me of, for some reason, Sanjaya speaking to Dhritarashtra, and he explained the battlefield of Kurukshetra, even though he wasn't physically there. He made it real. As Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, says that it's like spiritual television. He could see it. So as you're speaking, it's almost like I'm watching a TV show. I mean, you're explaining it so beautifully and descriptive. It's like it just draws me in. And I love your example about the red state, blue state. That was very good. But I'm trying to remember this past time, and I'm pretty sure you could help me on it. The one, I believe this with Yudhisthira, where the question was asked about the most valuable thing, and he gave some answer about,
Mhm.
people are dying, and the person's thinking that he will not die. Can you explain that a little bit if you can, that past time?
Yes, that happens at the Lake of Death, where Yudhisthira and his brothers, the five of them, are wandering in the forest, and their sun is beating down upon them. They're totally, their throats are parched. They're desperately in need of water. So they fall down exhausted beneath the tree. And they suspect that up in the distance, there's a lake.
Mm.
And one of the brothers goes there. But in the lake, there is some strange creature. And the brother goes there to bring back some water for his other brothers. But first he wants to refresh himself. And so he's about to drink. And the creature in the lake says, "Stop, you can't drink. I don't give you permission. First you have to answer my questions." So the brother's looking around. He doesn't see anybody. He drinks. And the personality turns the water into poison, and the brother drops dead. And so one after another, they come, and they each go through the same thing. None of them will respond to the request to answer the questions. But Yudhisthira finally comes, and he sees his four brothers lying dead by the side of the lake, and he's also overwhelmed with thirst. He has to drink. And so he's about to drink, but then he hears the voice, "Stop. Before you drink, you must answer my questions." And so Yudhisthira is very self-controlled. Even though he's dying of thirst, he says, "Okay, ask your questions. I'm not going to drink until I respond to your questions." And so this personality asks so many different questions of Yudhisthira. And finally, the last question, "What's the most wonderful thing in this world?" And Yudhisthira says, "You know, the most wonderful thing is that all around us, everything is rushing into the mouth of death.
Mm.
But we don't think we'll die. We think we'll live forever, even though my four brothers are lying dead before me, the elders of my dynasty, they've all come and gone. But I foolishly think that I'll live forever. What could be more wonderful than this?" And so this is actually, and the creature in the lake turns out to be Yudhisthira's own celestial father, Dhammaraj.
Mm.
So Dhammaraj finally reveals himself, and he said, I've come here to test you. I've come here to test your forbearance. I've come here to test your wisdom. I wanted to see for myself. And so, whatever we're going through is some sort of a test. We're all going through different things. We all having to encounter different struggles, different challenges in life. And they're all tests to see how we will, we can't change the situations. The only thing we can change is our attitude to the situation around us. We may or may not be able to change the situation, but still, the first thing we have to do is change our attitudes. And also, it's not even enough to change the laws. Basically, Prabhupada said that, people, that the laws may change, but still people have the same old attitudes. We have to change people's attitudes. And by giving knowledge, our movement is a movement. The way we can serve society is by offering this knowledge, not only offering it, but we have to be representatives. We have to walk the talk, so to speak. We have to, and Dag Hammarskjöld, he's was the Secretary General of the United Nations back in the 1950s. He was a very religious man, and he said that in our era, it is necessary, the path to holiness necessarily goes through the world of action. So we can, and Krishna won't let Arjuna avoid action. Arjuna wants to walk away, but Krishna says, no, you have to stay and fight, perform your duty in life, no matter how difficult it is. So I take great inspiration from Dag Hammarskjöld's statement that in our era, that we must take the path of holiness leads through the world of action. And so, you know, all of these things are so kind of very important that to solidify what our role is in society. Is our role as protesters, as the role of the devotees, as politicians? No, we have a role. We can interact in society, but we have a special and unique type of a contribution that we can make in the form of this ancient wisdom, but it's still relevant in this modern context as well.
Thank you so much. That was very beautiful. Vijay, you have any?
Yeah, I have one. It's a comment made by Sharon. She says, "Thank you. This is the most understandable discussion of the Mahabharata that I've heard." So it's a compliment by Sharon.
Thank you so much.
And from my side, I have a comment, not just Shikandi, but also you have Arjuna. He himself has to undergo the transgender situation for 1 year. So the greatest warrior of all times, he himself becomes a transgender. So, so hostility towards transgender is unethical from the Vedic point of view.
Exactly.
So that's the point. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for that comment.
Do we have any other questions? Sharon, I see that you're on camera. Do you have another question or you have another comment? You good? You're on mute. There you go.
That does seem to be the lesson of the day, is to learn to unmute oneself.
Go get your grandkids. They'll do it for you.
Didn't have any, so.
Okay.
But anyway, no, I really, yeah, the Mahabharata is so complicated.
Very sophisticated, yes.
Oh, I like the word sophisticated better. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. That was so sweet. Anyone else that's on our Zoom call? Anyone else have a question or comment? If not, Sankirtan Prabhu, this has been a wonderful evening, and we're so honored that you agreed to participate. And we look forward to having you come back again with more narrations from the Vedic philosophy.
You know,
We're
it's
very
my
excited
great
about
pleasure.
it. Very excited.
I think one word that's found in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, there's the word dharma that I was talking about, but there's also what is called svadharma. Svadharma means our own dharma, our own propensities, who we are, and what can our own contribution be to society and to our culture. So in moving to New Vrindavan, I was living in a city temple at one point in the early 70s. Then I moved to New Vrindavan, my family and I, in 1976. And when I moved to New Vrindavan, you know, here we have a little community, a culture. And so I realized that to make a contribution, I needed to, you know, I wasn't just a book distributor anymore, but now there was a society, a community around me, and what type of contribution can I personally make to the community? And so we have to search for ourselves and to understand what is our Swadharma. What is the contribution that we are duly, our own unique nature, our own unique contribution. What do we have to offer? So each of us has to find that in our spiritual path and not shy away from it. Because when I was interested in theater for many years before I became a devotee, but when I became a devotee, there's this whole mood of renunciation that we have to leave behind our attachments and leave behind all of the things that we're interested in and just devote ourselves to Krishna. But no, a higher principle is not just to discard our talents, but to utilize our talents in Krishna's service, in the Lord's service. So I think that's the last point that I wanted to make. It's my great pleasure to be here and to talk with all of the devotees. And thank you for participating, and thank you for inviting me. So Balabhadra Prabhu, Vijay, Hare Krishna, and all of you, thank you so much. Hare
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you so
So honored.
much for